What's up, everybody? You beautiful fuckers. Welcome to another episode of the Men of Zen, an anime research podcast. My name is Brent.
I'm Phil.
And I'm Aiden.
And today we're covering Hakusho. Oh my god. I'm so excited to do this. Like, it's just... This is one of the most phenomenal shows of all time. This is like the show that got me into anime.
Ooh, really?
Like, yes. Like, this is where I was like, oh, that is what anime is. And I know we've covered it before on Toonami. How do you think I had spent like my nights as a child in like late night middle school, early high school? I'd be up until 2 or 3 in the morning right there with my comfort friend on Toonami, Yu Yu Hakusho, Yusuke Urameshi, Hiei Kuwabara. Oh man, Kurama, they were all my best buds. They were there for me when no one else was in the dead of night. Like watching on like a tiny, it was like a 16-inch fucking little TV. Oh, sorry, I got my phone going off. I turned up the volume to look at something earlier, so don't mind that ding. I don't give a fuck. That's not my phone. That was your phone.
I think it may have been my phone.
Yeah, maybe it'll confuse somebody. They'll go,
quiet on the set.
Did my phone just go off?
Quiet on the set.
I hope everybody thinks that. Man, but yes, and it is still spooky season, so of course, Yu Yu Hakusho, Spirit Detective.
Ghost Files.
Yes, the Ghost Files, where it all started, and this is something that, you know, I kind of forget about this. Well, I guess, before I only talk about how I started with Yu Yu Hakusho. Phil, Aiden, how did you guys come into Yu Yu Hakusho? Because you know mine.
Yeah. So I watched it. You said you watched it on Adult Swim?
Toonami.
Toonami,
when
okay.
it was like the late night shit.
So
Yeah.
I did that too as well, but mine, I think, for my time frame, I think it was on right after school for me, or elementary school when I would get off.
Oh,
It'd be around like 5 or 6 p.m. right after like Dragon Ball Z, Sailor Moon, and they had that lineup.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's when I started watching it, and I thought it was pretty cool because I started off for me.
Around what year was that?
Like I want to say
Super early.
I don't know, super. I would say maybe 2003, 2004-ish around there, the time frame.
Okay, so around that same time.
Yeah,
that was... So, I mean, I guess for me, when I was growing up, I didn't have cable that had access to Cartoon Network. I didn't even know what Cartoon Network was until I was, like, 14.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was, like, so my mom and I lived in the Midwest forever, and we moved out to Nevada. And Nevada, it was, like, just one of the basic channels that came with cable. And I was like... Wait, it's a network of cartoons, and like it blew my fucking fragile mind. I never watched anything else other than that. So yeah, I didn't know they really had anime, because like I said, my cartoons were, if it wasn't on Fox Kids Saturdays or Nickelodeon, I didn't watch it. Like I didn't think of Pokemon as anime. Like that probably would be the first, but to me as a kid, that was just a good cartoon.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
As a kid, I didn't consider this anime. I thought it was just on Cartoon Network.
Right.
Like, cool,
I mean, looking at it now,
cartoons.
I would consider it anime, but that's not what got me into it. That's what got me into Pokemon.
Right.
This is what got me into anime.
Right. My thing with this series is same time. I'm pretty sure it was either Adult Swim or Toonami that I watched it on, and I started watching this around the same time I was watching Dragon Ball, so having like all these amazing like fighting animes.
Oh yeah.
And what's really cool about this show is like there are some similarities. Obviously, Christopher Sabat voices characters in both Dragon Ball and Yu Yu Hakusho. There's a whole lot of similarities between the two, but absolutely.
He plays Kuwabara. Look out, Urameshi.
This rewatching this has definitely solidified this is in my top 10. For sure, when it comes to anime, it's so
of all time.
Good.
It's just
100%
fun.
all time.
It's fun. Like some of it's cheesy, but it's supposed to be dark. It's like world-threatening level of like, you know, the tragedy and shit that happens, and it's just bizarre how some of this unfolds.
Each saga is has a different tone than the previous one, and it just it's each saga really sticks out too.
Yeah.
My personal favorite, I actually after rewatching it, I gotta change the sagas that I like. You know, in ranking order.
Yeah.
I used to think like the Dark Tournament saga. Just keep in mind there are four main sagas in this show. You have the Spirit Detective arc, which is the first one. Early on, he's learning about his abilities. Then the Dark Tournament arc, the Chapter Black arc, and then finally the Three Kings. Now, if I were to like look back on these, I would probably say Chapter Black is my new favorite arc in
Really?
the show. Oh, it's such a huge difference when I was a kid watching it, not
Yeah.
understanding a lot of the references and themes in it, to being an adult and watching it again. Totally different feel to it. So I'd say Chapter Black, Dark Tournament, Spirit Detective, and Three Kings is the last
Yeah.
one. But Three Kings is it's only. I'll explain why Three Kings is at the bottom of the list later on when we go into a little more detail. But Brent, tell us what is Yu Yu Hakusho? What is what is it about? What's the
So first
bit?
and foremost, Yu Yu Hakusho by Yoshihiro Togashi was born on April 27th, 1966, a Japanese manga artist. He began drawing at an early age before being recognized for his talent by publishing company Shueisha while attending college. He authored several other manga series during the past, including Hunter from 1998 until
Hunter x
present.
Hunter.
Yeah,
It's Hunter
don't
x Hunter.
you don't you say that.
Yeah, you don't pronounce it.
That
X.
X is silent.
I think it sounds cool.
Well, sure. It's like I think it's like yeah, Hunter X Hunter, but that's like
Hunter
saying
cross Hunter.
right. I mean, it's the equivalent of saying the spaces in between your words when you talk. Hello, space, Phil, space. How space, our space, you space. Wow, that hurts my brain. Togashi is married to Naoko Takeuchi, who is the author of fucking Sailor Moon.
Man,
How is that allowed that they are together? Like, they're such a powerhouse.
That
It's
is so
stupid.
cool.
It's how? That should be illegal.
Man got lucky. That's what happened.
They have like anime in a corner. They own the biggest shit.
It is so funny that like the different types of manga that they have written. You know, you think of Sailor Moon like light, fun, you know, like colorful, everything, and then you have Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter
Yeah.
x Hunter x Hunter.
Yeah, yeah.
That is very dark and like gritty.
Well, they both are, and his style is very recognizable. Like when you see this, and then see Hunter x Hunter. Like some of the characters, I almost thought I was like, I don't recognize that character from Yu Yu Hakusho, and I'm like, oh, it was a different thing. That's when I found out about Hunter x Hunter, and man, that one's cool as shit too. That one's pretty good. I haven't seen all of it. I'm not caught up. I know it's like as long as One Piece, if not longer. I don't fucking know. It's huge, and the guy has it's as long as his hair is tall. I know that. That's what I'll have to say about it.
Oh boy.
But what is Yu Yu Hakusho, you ask? Follows the story of Yusuke Urameshi, who is our primary protagonist. He's a 14-year-old street brawler kid who, like, if you've ever played the video game River City Ransom,
Oh yeah.
he's like one of those in like a green jumpsuit.
Dude, Yusuke has his hands are rated E for everyone. He does
Yeah.
not discriminate.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes, if it's not a child, he will discriminate because that is how he dies when he saves a kid by pushing him out of the way of a vehicle. Fun fact: they reveal later that they're like, oh, if he just had done nothing, he actually would have been fine.
Yep.
And that's the whole reason he dies, trying to push his kid out of the way. And he's got, great intentions. Wow. I thought that was
Yeah.
hysterical. They're like,
He's-
actually, the child would have lived. He would have had one less scrape than you gave him.
Yeah, the ball would have somehow bounced him and like kept him alive. I don't know. Like it's such a. Here's the
man.
thing though. Like yeah, it's such a funny start to the show because he's an absolute delinquent. He's skipping class, and he's just like, yeah, screw this. I'm leaving. I don't
Like-
need this noise. And then he actually talks to the kid and he's like, hey, don't play with your ball in the street. And what does that kid do? Not listen.
It's the first thing they should do. Man, but that's so. Oh my god, he's so funny. He's the kid that, like, kids at the school would make up stories or legends about him, like, oh,
Yep.
I heard he killed 1,000 people,
Yeah.
and the corpses are in his basement, and like, you don't want to make Yusuke Urameshi mad.
Yeah, when you think about this show, I totally forgot. He's a 14-year-old kid for most of this show.
He's a 14-year-old with the fucking, like, the mindset of, like, a young 20-year-old.
Yeah.
And it's scary how adult he is. There's no way. Holy shit. So, his ghost, when he dies, is greeted by Botan, which, let's all admit, she's the reason for the season. If you know what I mean.
He's the Grim Reaper.
Oh, yeah.
She takes the appearance of a beautiful girl with long blue hair, but also it's not her real form. Apparently,
Yes.
she does have a true Reaper form, but she stays in her human form because it's nicer on the eyes and
Yeah.
less scary.
She's technically supposed to be the Grim Reaper, who is the pilot for the ferry on the River Styx that welcomes souls to the underworld, or the spirit world, as they call it, where they are judged for the afterlife, where they are supposed to go. Botan informs Yusuke that his act had caught even the underworld by surprise because, again, everyone was like, he's a piece of shit. And like, wait, he saved a kid? What? That doesn't make any... So the giant asshole gives his life, and now some of these, like, teachers and stuff are, like, in conflict of, oh, I always thought you were a terrible kid, but it turns out you were a true hero.
Dude, I
Urameshi."
loved that moment where, like,
Yeah,
the principal,
the
who's always, like,
principal.
on his ass, but, like, genuinely cared about him.
Yeah, he
and some of the
wants
other
to-
teachers just... Even some of the other teachers like, oh, he probably got hit because he pushed that kid into the street and he just
Yeah.
got hit by accident. And the principal just comes up there, grabs him by the collars and like, you shut the fuck up right now. Like, that was really cool. I liked that.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's... Yeah, it was such a good scene with the principal. They, just like you said, it's one of the... Well, because he has this moment, too, where he's like... He wants to be mad at him, and he starts at first. It's like, Yusuke, you dumb bird, why? Why did you have to do it? You could have gone so far, my boy. Oh, man. Yeah, it's so stupid. He was hilarious. So, okay, where was I? Botan informs Yusuke that, he's dead. And that, actually, he would have lived, how they found that out is that Botan tells him. So, she takes him to Koenma, the underworld's ruler. King, Enma, right? Okay, wait.
Well,
So is
Koenma-
Koenma is
King
the
Enma's
son
son, yeah.
of the ruler of the underworld, King Enma. Koenma, he's really funny. I like him.
He takes the appearance of a small baby.
You're a Meshi? I can't. He sounds like he's like a. Oh no! He sounds like a really stupid Mickey Mouse.
But he takes the appearance of a small toddler with like a big hat and a pacifier.
Hold on there, Kuwabara. Take out your spirit sword.
Oh god, no, I'm not gonna be able to unhear that. But basically, he meets him and says, "Hey, we're gonna give you a chance to like come back to life if you can surpass this test." And he gives him a bunch of tests, and if he does, he'll come back to life. And throughout this, he has to convince his childhood best friend Keiko. Keiko Yukimura and Kazuma Kuwabara, his kind of like rival, to help him come back to life.
Yep.
And
He's another River City looking guy, but this time in a blue suit. But he's
Yeah.
got like red curly hair. He's really tall and talks like this.
you know what's funny? Apparently, the school uniform is blue, but for some reason, Yusuke wears a green one.
Yeah, well, it's
And-
because he's a rebel.
Yeah.
Well, maybe it was like a really like he washed it and like the color got all fucked up.
I could see that.
Yeah.
That's how much about delinquent is. Like it is the same school uniform. My mom just fucked up the laundry.
There's a big color scheme with like all the main characters. Yusuke's green, Kuwabara's blue, Kurama's red /
red and
pink,
white,
and then
yeah.
Hiei is black.
Yeah, it's cyan, magenta. Well, no, because there's green. So
And
it would need to be yellow.
Well, no, I'm talking about like the main.
I was
the main
thinking
colors.
CMYK. Well, because you need the main colors are red, blue, and yellow.
Yeah, but like it's green, blue, red, and
Oh
black.
yeah, RGB. Okay. Yeah, so
much.
it's RGB.
But anyway, after he comes back to life, he's offered the title of Underworld Detective or Spirit Detective by Koenma. Basically, like, hey, want to help stop demons and poltergeists and apparitions? We'll give you a cool gun.
Right. It's really funny how
Give
they
you a
do it.
finger
Like,
gun.
he's just like a kid that dies, and they're like, well, I mean, you could go on and take these really big jobs if you want. I'm like, who is this kid? Why would you trust him to do any of this?
It's apparently he's got a lot of potential.
I guess that's what they see in him. So they send him off on his first case, retrieving 3 treasures that are stolen from the underworld by a gang of demons, Hiei, Kurama, and it's Goki. Yeah.
Yep.
Yusuke collects the 3 treasures with the aid of his new technique, the ray gun or the spirit gun, or he is the guy that like gets all of the main spirit energy. And this is a main theme that is through the show all throughout everything with his spirit gun or spirit shotgun or whatever the fuck it is.
It's basically like the Kamehameha from Dragon Ball, except he's shot. It's like a little tiny bullet that he shoots out of his finger.
Yeah, I like how he actually has to make the gun shape with his hand. Like he's
That's the best part, though.
It's so good, but yeah, it's just a really funny gimmick. But the show has more like serious stakes fights. It's not all flashy spirit energy attacks and stuff. A lot of it is more grounded swords and stuff, but every now and then it'll be like, aha, they have a new technique to add with a twist, like the Kurama with his rose whip.
With his sword.
Still like like they're based on like regular things. Like Kuwabara has a sword that he can summon from his hand. It's like spiritual energy. But he can do stuff like sword get longer, and it just
It's longer.
it just gets longer, but it weighs like nothing, I guess.
He can warp it too, if I remember correctly. He can like bend
Yeah,
his
I
sword
think
and make
so.
it
It's
go around,
later in the series, where he has to learn to control his spirit energy.
Let's see here. Then he then travels to the mountains in search of an aged female martial artist, Master Genkai.
Genkai's the fucking
I
coolest.
love
Yeah,
her.
I'd say Genkai is like my favorite.
She's the fucking jam.
Together with his rival Kuwabara, Yusuke fights through a tournament organized by Genkai to find her successor. Yusuke uses the competition as a cover-up to search for Rando, a demon who steals the techniques of martial artists and kills them. Yusuke defeats Rando in the final round of the tournament and trains with Genkai for several months. Basically, he didn't even want to be her successor, and she's like, well, you won. I'm training you. He's like, wait, no, I don't care about this. No, you're going to learn, bitch.
Yep.
And it's, Genkai is like that old crabby lady that doesn't take shit, and she's awesome.
She's
I love
really
her.
funny. She's the wise old hermit that knows far more than you think she does. When she tells you to do something, there's a reason. Just fucking do it.
The voice of the OG Frieza too.
Oh, is she really?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just realized that. Holy shit.
I didn't realize.
OG Frieza, yeah.
Wow, that's cool. Yeah, Genkai's fucking rad. Steals the show during a lot of the tournament, which is one of the. So there's. Again, there's he fights Rando in the final round of this tournament, and then he trains with Genkai for a super long time. Yusuke, after this, is then sent to a labyrinth castle in the demon realm, and this is where some of my favorite stuff comes in. Where I think this is where I actually started the show in the middle of this series when I first started it, because I was like, I remember them ascending the stairs and his fight with.
Byakko?
Yeah, the giant tiger dude. And I remember seeing that going, whoa, that was sick. And it's almost like Legend of Zelda, the anime, is a really good way that I feel like puts it, where there's 4 of these saint beasts that he must defeat to get to Suzaku. That's his name?
Yep, Suzaku, the leader of them. Each of the saint beasts is based off of one of the 4 like saint animals.
Yeah.
Turtle, tiger, dragon, phoenix.
Yep.
Super cool. This is like the first Rando was tough and all, but this is like his first big case where the human world could be.
This is where I feel like the show finally starts to reveal that it's a fight, like a tournament fighter anime, and I'm like, oh, because it's just straight up fight, and then they go through the next door up a flight of stairs, and there's the next fight, and you're like,
the main focus on the show is a lot of one-on-one fights. There's not a lot of group fights in this anime, which I really like that actually.
Did you guys know the show was actually supposed to be just cute little stories here and there. Each episode is a different story where he just goes and solves and just does his own little thing.
I could
See,
have seen
that's
that.
kind of how it felt it was going to start, and when it took that spin of, okay, now you go fight monsters in
Right.
tournaments, I went, oh, what? Like,
He got bored of it. Like, I was reading it and said, he's like, he didn't like the vibe of it anymore, so he wanted to change it and make it a darker
That
tone.
makes sense because the tone shifts drastically
Right.
during the next case. The next case essentially was a rescue mission where he needs to rescue the held captive Ice Maiden, who turns out to be Hiei's twin sister. And they basically, like, you need to go save her before Hiei gets there, because if Hiei gets there, he'll murder people.
Hiei is like the Sasuke of the group. He's the
dude.
really gothy, really small, angsty, angry guy who wears all black, but he will fuck you up so fast.
Did you know he actually was also heavily inspired by Vegeta?
I could see that 100%. I could see that. That's interesting that he's inspired by Vegeta.
Because this came out after Dragon Ball.
Yeah, I wonder how much after. I'll have to look. I didn't really think about that.
But essentially, during this mission, he and Kuwabara come face to face with the Toguro brothers, humans that were turned demon and were their biggest threat in the show. Unfortunately, their supposed defeat was just a ploy, was a fake, and they appear
Spoilers,
to Yusuke. Yes, spoilers. They appear to Yusuke later on, basically saying, "Hey, I fought you at 20% of my power last time.
Yeah.
You've actually you're weak."
Younger Toguro.
And he you'll see in another video we'll post, that it was basically, he said, "Hey, I think you're going to be a good fighter in the future for me. You should fight in this tournament. Also, this is not a request. You're going to be in this tournament."
You're going.
So that kicks off the Dark Tournament Saga, which many anime fans claim is one of the best, if not the best, tournament arc of any anime. Basically, where
I will agree.
teams of demons, like they make teams of 5, to come together this tournament to get the official grand prize at the end, which is any wish can be granted.
It's like Mortal Kombat.
Yes. Now Toguro won. Toguro has been the reigning champion for years.
He's like fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger in a trench coat, like the Terminator, and he will fucking annihilate you. He's so tall.
His whole thing is that he increases his power by percentages, getting bulkier, beefier, and just he's basically the embodiment of physical strength so far, and the greatest wall they have to overcome in this show at this point. But Yusuke gets his team together, which is him, Kuwabara, Yamcha, Kurama, and Hiei, along with a 5th masked fighter to help get to the end. And
who could the masked fighter be?
it's so many really cool fights, and what I really loved about early Yu Hakusho was it wasn't so much about power scaling, it was more about the technique. Sure, you had to be really strong, but a lot of these fighters had really cool abilities that I've never seen in other anime.
Yeah.
It was a real treat, and I feel like unfortunately that isn't the case later on.
Jin
in the show. Jin
is one of the fucking coolest. He's a great example of just something weird where his fighting style is very kind of monk-esque, where he's very flowy, but he creates like little tornado whirlwinds with his like fists and shit. So he can makes twisters in the middle of the ring. It's fucking cool.
There's some really cool characters in the tournament. You know, you got the Ice Master Toa, Wind Master Jin, the Drunken Chu,
Dude, he's
Yo-Yo
amazing.
Yo-Yo Rinku, Ziru, just so many really cool characters and designs in the
And
show.
they're not even the main characters.
Oh,
and
no,
I
right.
love some of those side characters.
Say what you will, this author really can make great martial arts anime scenes. Like really great characters with really cool abilities. We're kind of going through a lot of these really quickly because there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, there really is.
There really is. So anyway, of course, Yusuke gets to the end of the tournament, and that's all we can really say on that. The fights are fucking phenomenal, though.
Yep. That's the season for the show for me. That I'm like, if you were gonna start somewhere, it's just fun from start to finish.
Yeah, so basically, the next saga is, in my opinion, one of the biggest changes in the entirety of the show. The Chapter Black Saga. It is the second. It's the third saga and second longest saga in the Yu Yu Hakusho series. The saga focuses on Yusuke Urameshi's conflict with former spirit detective Shinobu Sensui and his 6 psychic allies as they try to open a portal connecting the human and demon worlds together. Kind of
right.
basing it on, like, it's a continuation of the Dark Tournament, because they also mentioned one of the villains wants to create a tunnel, but Sensui is just doing it a lot better.
Yeah.
Basically, this saga takes a huge turn, showing the darker side of humanity, showing that the world isn't so black and white, aka not all demons are evil and not all humans are good. This saga just had a completely different tone.
Oh, it was so much. It felt so much darker with much different stakes.
Oh, yeah.
It was a lot more serious. A little like it still had some of the wacky moments, but it was a different pace than the tournament fighter. It was so different. Like, yeah, I do like looking back on this. I'm like, oh yeah, this was Sensui. I remember this. I was
Sensui,
like,
and
he was my shit when I played the Yu Yu Hakusho card game, dude. Team Sensui, hell yeah, I had that team bonus.
Great. We need to play that card game again. We need to teach you the card game, Aiden. It's really fun.
I have the card game. I have the Toguro deck.
Oh, you have a Toguro deck?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Oh, damn. We need to play sometime then.
But no, I hated this arc.
Yeah.
You really didn't like this arc?
No, I mean, so I don't know. To me, it was a different tone and a different way. It just wasn't my cup of tea. I didn't like the characters at all. None of the characters that introduced her I thought were cool at all.
So
I did not like any of the characters in this or anything.
They're kind of forgetful. Really, the main draw of this season was that for the entirety of the show, it was always Yusuke fighting demons, and this time it wasn't that. It was humans. All of his enemies and Sensui, the psychics, they were all human. And at that point, Yusuke has never taken a human life before. He's always been on the side of defending them. So it was a really cool contrast to see him fighting against humans, and not just any humans, but a former spirit detective, his predecessor.
Yeah.
And what's really cool about Sensui is that in a lot of ways he is like Yusuke, except he's older. Like, he's got more experience.
It makes you wonder why he turned, like why he switched.
And they do go into it, and it's super dark. The Chapter Black tape, which is essentially is thousands of hours. It looks like a normal cassette tape, but it's thousands of hours of humanity's worst actions.
Yeah.
And Sensui, who apparently was, when he was younger, he was very much black and white, demons are evil, humans are good. He didn't question anything. And then when he comes across this tape and comes across an event called the Feast of Human Vices, he completely snaps, and he is completely changed. That night, he took the Chapter Black tape and disappeared. And that's essentially what happened to him. And then, of course, 10 years later, Yusuke is picked as the next spirit detective.
Yep.
And Sensui is super cool. All the psychics are really cool. They don't fight with normal demonic powers. They fight with territories. You step into one of their territories, you must abide by their specific rules, which is a very different fighting style, because throughout the show, it's always about brute strength and techniques. But in this saga, brute strength really didn't get you anything. It was, you had to be, the crew had to be more tactical and use their brains. And you saw a lot of really cool fights that weren't necessarily fights, but more like battles of wit. And I really liked that. Brent, what'd you think of it, though? I guess Aiden says he didn't like it. I think it's my new favorite saga.
I mean, I feel like, so this was one that I didn't get to during this watching. It's been quite a few years since I have seen that one, but I do remember greatly enjoying the Sensui one. In fact, that was why I wanted to build the Team Sensui deck, because I think Phil's right. Like, the idea of a dark Yusuke, an alternate take on what he could turn into had he been given the same circumstances that Sensui was given. Like,
right.
Because they do feel like very similar, even that, like, that's, who he could become if he has that choice.
Now, there's a really cool contrast when Yusuke finds out about the the Feast of Human Vices, and he finds out about the Chapter Black tape, and he confronts Sensui about it. Sensui's like, don't you understand, like, humans are scum, they're just as bad, if not worse, than demons. And Yusuke's like, not every person is like that, you can't lump every single person into this. Like, it's like, I don't deal with what ifs, I deal with facts. And it's almost like Sensui wants to prove to Yusuke that humans are evil and that he is justified, because Sensui, for most of his childhood, he was constantly haunted by demons, but he was pretty strong spiritually at the time, so he could still like kill smaller apparitions when he was a kid. But then given the opportunity to be a spirit detective, it was natural for him. Demons were the bad guys. He's been haunted by them all his life, and then to have his world flipped upside down. And there's a really cool twist with Sensui. I don't want to get into it, but there's a super cool twist with him.
Oh yeah, no, don't say anything.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Yeah, and that's such a weird, like, that's sorry, not weird, but it's so different. I can't think of any anime that's done something quite like this. His partner Itsuki, same deal. He's heavily implied to be gay, and he loves Sensui, and that's having such a major villain and also have a representation of someone from the LGBTQ.
One of them was like a scientist.
Yep, Kamiya was the doctor.
Yeah.
There was doctor, gourmet, sniper, seaman, gamer.
Amanuna the gamer.
Yep, and gatekeeper, and then Sensui was Dark Angel. And it was such a cool organization.
Yeah, and I think that's another reason why I liked it, was because it was like a band of misfits that each had their own. It was like the Ocean's 11 of bad boys in Yu Yu Hakusho. I don't know how to put it. It's so fucking good.
Yeah, it was such an interesting arc. But then
the final season of the series, The Three Kings, which takes place immediately after a certain event at the end of the last season. I mean, a certain thing has to happen to allow this season to happen. So,
I actually really like this one.
Yeah, at the end of some stuff, some shit happens. But then Urameshi falls into a great feeling of discomfort due to a demon's interference in his fight with Sensui, and ultimately facing a serious existential crisis. Not knowing who to turn to, he travels to see Genkai. You know who that is? That old hag.
I love how most of the series he calls her an old hag, old bitch, grandma, and she just dishes it right back to him too.
Like this, so that's something we didn't touch on, is that this show was like a 90s anime, and it was one of those shows that wasn't afraid to be rough. Sometimes it would straight up be like, "Shut up, bitch."
There is one scene I forgot during the rescue arc with Yukina. There is a demon that they fight who apparently is trans. She appears to be a beautiful demon woman, but Yusuke basically punches her in the face, and Kurbai's like, "Whoa, you can't punch a girl," and Yusuke's like, "I didn't," and even the demon's like, I will be soon, and Yusuke's like, these hands are rated E for everyone. I don't care who you are, man, woman, child. You're gonna get punched.
I'm gonna punch you.
And that's makes Yusuke, I feel like, pretty different compared to a lot of protagonists where, like, I don't hit women. He's like, no, I don't hit anybody.
He has this kind of, like, after that reputation of his, he has this kind of interesting change of heart, sort of, where, like, he's no longer, the bad boy. He still is, but he's not the asshole.
Right.
Like, I don't know how to put it. He has enough of a shift where he's like, all right, like, I care about people that are living and what I can do to save them. Mostly Keiko, from some other bullshit that happens during the first season with Suzaku and the Four Saint Beasts. And, I don't know. I feel like it's only his friends, and that's really about it. If it's anybody else, I don't know if he cares that much.
He cares enough to, like, want to save people, but that's pretty much it.
Yeah. So, going back to that season, he travels to Genkai, and then Genkai suggests visiting the original spirit detective for Earth, Kuroko Sato.
Who just happens to still be alive.
Right, yeah, how old is that fucker? Yusuke does so only to have the visit interrupted by 3 messengers from the demon world who claim to have all of the answers he's been seeking. They inform him that the demon who possessed him during his fight with the renegade spirit detective was actually his ancestral demon father, Ryzen. And this was cool. I
Yes.
did like Ryzen.
Yep. Now, Ryzen is one of my favorite characters in the show, even though he was only in there briefly. It's because his lore and his like legendary status. As you can tell, the Three Kings arc is about the three kings of Demon World: Ryzen, Makuro, and Yomi. Ryzen apparently at one point was the strongest demon in all of Demon World. His power ranked higher than any of the current Demon Kings. But unfortunately, during one night, he was attacked by a legion of very powerful demons who were able to get the upper hand on him enough to injure him. He ran into a woman who nursed him back to health. Before he could attempt to kill her, though, she says, "Hey, eat me. Go for it. I'm full of poison. I fucking dare you." He had never met a woman that was like, "Oh, you're not scared of me." And this is back when the human world and the demon world were
I'm gonna
together.
eat you.
Oh yeah, he did, because apparently, since he can't eat her, he decided to sleep with her.
Yeah.
And
Same
then,
thing.
pretty much. And then at that point, he leaves her, vowing to never eat another human until he meets her again. Unfortunately, she died during childbirth. He never got to
Where's
say
your
goodbye.
poison now?
Yep. So because of that, he kept his promise.
Sorry, that was mean. Childbirth is no joke.
He was unable to meet her, so from that day on, he stopped eating humans, and that was hundreds of years ago. To the point where, because of this hunger, he has drastically weakened.
Yep.
But even in his weakened state, he is a match for the other two Demon Kings, who rose to power. Well, I guess Makuro was always like the second strongest demon in Demon World, before the hunger strike. And then when he got down to about the same level as Makuro, Yomi joined the ranks of the Three Kings. And then they've been locked in that triple stalemate. Since if two Demon Kings were to fight each other, and one of them would more than likely win, the other one would be heavily injured, the third king would swoop in and steal the win. So because of that, they've always remained at a standoff. Really cool, very drastic change. Every saga, there's like this huge power increase.
Togoro's like ranked only a B.
Toguro turns out was a B class. A high B class apparition,
and that's ridiculous.
Yep, Sensui was ranked low S class.
Yeah, they all were. They were all S class. Well, Yomi,
Ryzen, and Makuro were upper S class, but not just upper S class. Like, they were like the top echelon of demons. So even normal S classes were pretty. Like, even the difference between a lower S class and an upper S class is huge.
Yeah,
Because Makuro had 77 S-class demons under their command, so...
You can really tell in that PS2 game.
Oh, God, yeah. You'll see that video we post later. But anyway, yes.
Shit. Maybe if we're lucky, maybe we'll throw that up onto our what do you call that? Patreon.com/themenofzen. You can pay $3 a month to get bonus episodes from us, the Men of Zen. Patreon.com/themenofzen. Go do it. That's it. That's all the ads we got. Hey, do you want to be an ad sponsor for our show? Let us know by getting with us on any of our social media sites, because we're on anything and everything. You can find us on a lot of weird porn stars sites on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram.
Brent works really hard to make that happen.
It's a lot of fun. That's great.
I love all the posts you send about that. It's great.
It's a lot of bots, but it's fun.
One last thing about Ryzen before we get back into the description of it. Ryzen, apparently either his first name or his title is Toshin, which apparently in Japanese means battle god.
Oh, cool.
So either his real name is Toshin Ryzen, or is just a title given to him of battle god Ryzen, which is so cool.
That's neat.
Because the first time you meet him, he's sitting there. Just like, aren't you going to give your old man a hug? And then he just beats the shit out of Yusuke without even getting up. Oh, so good. But continue.
Well, shit, I mean, that's really about all I had about for, like, the plot. Is there anything else that I know? Like, there's so much to cover. What else can you think of to cover? Yeah.
Right, a little bit more of the plot. So basically, he is obviously his demon father, Ryzen, wants to meet him because he's on his deathbed. Turns out if you don't eat for hundreds of years, you're probably going to die. And during the same time, though, both Kurama and Hiei, who have become much more famous in the demon world because of their increased strength and, of course, teaming up with Yusuke, have received messages from the other two leaders. Kurama got a message from Yomi, and Hiei got a message from Mukuro. So essentially, the three head to demon world, realizing that they are now going to be considered enemies of each other, which is a huge change. You know, they were a team for the longest time, and now... And that's when it felt very weird that, like, the three of them would heed the calls of these demon kings. But at the same time, you think about it, what are they going to do? Say no?
'Cause it literally falls down to what? Just loyalty, and that's really about it. And, like, well, with those two, I can totally see that. Because both of their personalities, Kurama and Hiei, they're very dutiful. They're very nonchalant. They're just like, go in, do the job, do what needs to be done, and get out. They're not like flashy. They don't show off. They're not necessarily super funny. They're just around. And Hiei's always like, you have to attack him with your sword. I wonder how he's gonna get around this one.
So,
and like, he doesn't give a shit if Yusuke could die in front of him. He'd be like, I guess I'm next. He wouldn't care.
Well, that's the thing, is Hiei never gave a shit until right at the end of the Sensui saga.
Yeah.
And there was actually a really cool moment, rewatching that, where he basically tells Yusuke, knock him dead, Yusuke Urameshi. But no, if you fall, no, I got your back.
Yeah.
Like, that was the first time he's ever like, okay, like...
He actually is like, okay, we're buds, but yeah, for a long time, he's just a guy that's like, we're together to do a job, and that's it.
Right. Like, he's friends with Kurama, but then, like, Kurama's friends with them.
Yeah, that's also, they have that kind of that same status, though, where they're both those mysterious, like, figures that have far more power than they let on for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And...
Dude, Kurama's fucking scary.
Yeah.
Like, when he wants to be, he can be violent.
No, he like transforms into some shit like a giant fox.
So Kurama actually is the human form of basically a long time ago. Kurama in his original form, Yoko Kurama, was injured, and he had to take up residence inside of a newborn baby that was, you know, being developed obviously in the mother. He took over the baby's body and essentially was born as a human. He wanted to stay around for about 10 years, he said, before he could regain his powers. But during that time, he actually came to love his human mother and care about her and actually like being a human. But that essentially became... It created two different personalities for Kurama. There's Yoko Kurama, which is the white-haired, fox-eared
fucker.
Oh, he's real scary.
Holy
he's so
fuck.
Powerful.
He's
I love him.
Rad.
Then you have Shuichi. Shuichi Minamo. Minamino is his human persona, the red hair. But we all just refer to him as Kurama. His white-haired version is Yoko Kurama, and then just Kurama is the pink hair.
Reminds me of a character from just the way he looks and dresses, like from Speed Racer. And I don't know why. No one else looks like him, but he looks like he comes out of Speed Racer. I don't know why.
Interesting.
Just his eyes and his face shape. I don't know. There's something about it.
I just love Kurama because he's so calm and collected. He's the smart, analytical one. And in reference to Hiei, Hiei says at one point, he's like, "Why do you think I sought out Kurama as my partner? I'd rather have him be my partner than my enemy. I don't want to fight him." That's something like Hiei was a badass at that point, so it's like, oh, you didn't want to fight him? So
because Hiei at that time, his big shit was like he had his third eye opening technique. Yeah, he could do that. He had like the shadow dragon sword or shadow
dragon of the darkness flame.
Yep.
Hiei uses fire. Kurama fights with plants. Yusuke's got his spirit gun. And Kurama's got his spirit sword. Yes, I say he fights with plants.
He fights with plants. It's way cooler than you think.
Yeah.
But just the way you put it that way. Like,
fights with weeds.
He's got a tank, she's got guns, and he's got plants.
Like, I guess how they refer to as Kurama injects his spirit energy and demon energy into like seeds or plants. Like, he carries around a normal rose, puts his demon energy into it, and boom, he's got a rose whip. It's really cool, though.
It's good, though. Yeah, it's a lot like, oh my god, what was her name in, Soul Calibur 2?
I know what you're talking about, Ivy.
Ivy, yeah.
Yeah,
because she would do summon suffering with her, like, whip sword or whatever. I always envisioned that was kind of like what Kurama would look like with those skills in 3D. But we could really see them on the PlayStation 2, and let me tell you, it's a lot of throwing really small rose petals across the screen.
You know, it's really funny. He never really did that, but
Yeah.
if you see in the game where the enemy blocks it, it just gets darted off into the crowd, and you just see like the crowd just burst into like rubble, and it's just like, damn, that's a strong ass flower.
Holy fuck, that petal, damn.
But overall, the Three Kings saga felt very different than the previous two. Like, it no longer became like about techniques. It was all about the power scaling. And of course, going against the Three Kings, they ended the Sensui arc with everyone being A class, but then Yusuke being low S class. And then near the end of Three Kings, everyone is considered like upper S class level. But the Three Kings, of course, are still pretty damn high up there. It's this, and then like the end of it. So essentially, Ryzen croaks, and it's up to Yusuke, who's the new king of the three, to basically figure out how he's going to coexist with the other two demons. And they decide to go one big tournament again.
Let's go again.
And except that the tournament's taken care of in a couple episodes. Like, they speed through it so quickly.
It's like a montage of remembrance,
Right.
really. It's like, oh, look, it's those guys. And,
Yeah.
oh, this is happening again.
Right. They bring back some old characters from the Dark Tournament saga, and it just felt so weird. And I actually looked into it. The reason why is because the author was burnt out.
Oh,
he
yeah.
wanted to stop writing Yu Yu Hakusho. Apparently, up the time that Kurama fought Karasu in the Dark Tournament, he wanted to be done. So he had to keep writing, and eventually it just got to a point where he posted a message saying, "I'm done. Like, I have to end this, or else I will never end it." So the last saga of the Three Kings is rushed, and I feel like that's probably why, to me, it's probably my least favorite of the four, because it just doesn't feel like the other three. There's no tension, there's no like stakes, there's just big tournament at the end, and they rush through it, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Let's see if we can figure out a little bit why. Talk about some of the production of this with the author Yoshihiro Togashi. He stated that he began working on Yu Yu Hakusho during a period of time around November 1990, though he forgot exactly what time. He recently completed a serialization of his romantic comedy called Tende Shawaru Cupid in Weekly Shonen Jump, having felt somewhat intimidated by some of his more popular fellow authors during this manga's run. Togashi realized he would need to create a fighting manga to gain popularity and write something he enjoyed. As a fan of the occult and horror films, he desired to write and illustrate a new manga based on his interests. Togashi had previously published an occult detective fiction manga titled Occult Tanteidan, which of course has referenced a positive reception from readers as a reason for continuing to create manga. When he finished producing Yu Yu Hakusho, he did not have a clear idea of what he wanted to call it. He used the tentative title How to Be a Ghost while presenting rough drafts to his editors. That's really interesting. That would have been like, that would go for, again, if he was going to go for like a more episodic thing, like Aiden was saying earlier, like, you know, do like short stories rather than a whole tournament thing. He used that. Once he was given the go-ahead to begin the publication, Togashi proposed Yu Yu Ki, Poltergeist Chronicles, for the title, as there would be battles with demons, and it would be a play on the title of Sayuki. Because a series with a similar name, Chin Yuki, had already began publication, Togashi quickly created an alternative, Yu Yu Hakusho, or the Poltergeist Report. He commented that he could have used Den Legend or Monogatari Story, but Hakusho Report was the first thing that came to his mind. He contiguously developed the names of the main characters by skimming through a dictionary and taking out kanji characters he found appealing. Yusuke Urameshi is a pun. Kuzama Kuwabara is a combination of two professional baseball players. Hiei and Kurama are just some names that popped into his head while he introduced the latter two characters in Volume 3. The author had early plans to make Kurama a main character, but was not certain about Hiei. The manga's shift from occult detective fiction to the martial arts genre after Yusuke's death and revival in the early chapters was planned by Togashi from the beginning. He took this idea from the series Kinnikuman, which you've heard of in previous episodes. That began largely as a comedy before concentrating on more action, as you said earlier. Togashi's intention was to establish the main characters and familiarize the reader with them before placing them in a tense physical conflict. His editor at the time was nervous of him beginning the manga this way and recommended he transition to a battle-focused plot after about 30 chapters. Yu Yu Hakusho borrows many elements from Asian folklore, particularly Buddhist beliefs in the afterlife. Togashi came up with the concept of the Ningen-kai, or the human world, or the Rei-kai, the underworld, and the Makai, demon plane, as being parallel planes of existence in the manga's universe. He thought of them as places that he could not easily travel between using modern technology, but rather a spirit lacking a material body. However, the idea for the territory powers was from the Sensui story arc, which was parodied from a separate, unnamed work by Yasutaka Tsutsui. Tsutsui. For his drawing materials, Togashi used drafting ink and Kubara pens throughout the creation of the series. While his style of artwork began with screen tone, he gradually developed into minimalism. As the series progressed, he would draw figures and faces very detailed or cartoony, sketchy, and jumping with action whenever he desired such effects.
Did you know that, just a little tidbit, did you know some of the first ever artists for the Yu Yu Hakusho manga started drawing doujinshi and yaoi type
Really?
comics?
Ooh.
Yeah, they were like, that's their style, I apparently, and they brought that over. So they just used that type of artwork.
Interesting.
Because
Yeah.
Apparently Kurama and Hiei were originally going to be lovers.
I wonder, because they look so different. Like, their eyes and stuff are different.
Right, but like they were going to be lovers with each other, but then they decided. I guess his publishers were like, no, don't do that. So I guess maybe he wanted some type of artists who have like that type of what's the word? What's the term? Like know how to write a romance or like erotic style of manga.
Yeah. Yep. That would definitely be a really weird vibe with those two. Now, Kurama, I could see that. Hiei,
Kurama's a pretty feminine boy.
Yeah, I mean, he's not. He doesn't come overly across, as homosexual.
Oh,
but
no,
just
no.
he's right. He does have a lot more feminine quality. He likes the finer things in life. He's like the rich boy, is what he
Yeah.
kind of comes across as. Where he's very kind of stuck up, or at least you would imagine him to be, but he's not quite that bad. So, during the years that Togashi worked on Yu Yu Hakusho, he would calculate the personal time he had based on a formula of 4 hours per page without scripting and 5 hours of sleep per night. Fuck that.
Yep.
He
Nope.
wrote his own doujinshi called Yoshirin Deipon that he stopped the production on Yu Yu Hakusho out of selfishness. How could he? The author originally wanted to end the manga in December 1993 at the climax of the Sensui arc. Although there was not a large demand from the editorial staff, Togashi was under a great deal of personal stress at certain points of the series' run, particularly during his final 6 months of publication. He claimed, beginning with the Dark Tournament arc, inconsistent sleep resulting from overwork was causing him health problems. He noted himself as being very ill while working on the color pages for Yusuke's match with Chu. There were many instances where he would create nearly entire manuscripts by himself, such as Yusuke's meeting with Raizen and the battle between Kurama and Karasu. The editors of the publication tried to make Togashi reconsider canceling Yu Yu Hakusho, though he justified his decision by stating that it would simply be replaced by another popular series. Togashi was relieved at the conclusion of the manga. The author claimed to not have been involved in the production of the Yu Yu Hakusho anime adaptation due to his own work schedule. He stated that he was greatly impressed by Shigeru Chiba's voice depiction of Kuwabara, admitting that the voice actor understood the character better than Togashi himself. You're a machine! No! Yeah, dude. Kuwabara's fucking rad. Hey,
I don't know why you don't like Kuwabaras.
Yeah, Pressure
I'll
Phil
tell you.
to cosplay as
Phil,
I'll
Kuwabara?
tell
make
you
the
why I
best
don't like
Kuwabara cosplay.
everybody.
I will tell you.
Everybody loves Kuwabara. I don't know why you.
Dude, he's the best.
Yeah,
He's the worst.
I've never met a person who loved the show that said
Fine,
they hate
I'll
Kuwabara.
do it. And I'll smoke around my spirit sword going, you're a machine.
I mean, Kuwabara gets with the best demon.
You're supposed to fight me. Oh shit, Phil, do you want to tell us a little bit about the anime?
I can certainly do that. The Yu Yu Hakusho anime adaptation was directed by Noriyuki Abe and co-produced by Fuji Television, Yumiko Advertising, and Studio Parrot. Is it
Yeah,
Parrot?
Studio Piero, I don't know.
Parrot. Studio Parrot. The series, consisting of 112 episodes, aired from October 10th, 1992 to December 17th, 1994. Only 2 years on Fuji Television. The episodes...
112 episodes in 2 years.
That's
That's like
2 700
to sometimes 3 episodes. Okay.
That's 2 years. That's little over 700.
Oh, I guess that is an
days.
episode a week. Yeah.
That's not even an episode a week
yeah.
almost.
Okay.
I guess...
was thinking for some reason 1 year, and I was like, "Fuck!" They did like 2 episodes a week. Shit.
Oh no! Other direction.
Yeah.
The episodes were released on the 23 video cassettes by Pony Canyon from January 1st, 1995 to December 6th, 1995. They were also released on 28 DVD volumes by Beam Entertainment, with volumes 8 through 14 being released on March 25th, 2002. Volumes 15 and 21 being released on April 5th, 2002, and volumes 22 to 28 being released on May 25th, 2002. The anime differed from its manga source material by containing different levels of violence and profanity, with as well as minor variations in art style from one to the other. For example, Yusuke smoked in the manga. He does not smoke in the anime. Smoking's bad. In early 2001, the series was acquired by Funimation Entertainment for North American distribution as Yu Yu Hakusho Ghost Files. Funimation's production saw a significant contribution from voice actor Justin Cook, who not only directed the dub, but also voiced the protagonist, Yusuke. I love him as Yusuke.
And he's the voice acting in this is great. This is an awesome one that you're not going to be disappointed. It doesn't sound overly cheesy. At times, it's like it comes across as like it was a '90s anime. You can see its age a little bit.
So, fun fact: I actually just found this out today, and I can't believe I didn't realize this. The same voice actor for Hiei voices Android 17 in the Dragon Ball series.
What?
Now think about it. Think of Hiei, and think of Android 17.
Oh my god.
Yep. Same actor.
Oh man. Okay.
I can't
I'm never
I can't-
gonna unhear that.
Yep. 100%. 100%.
That really like nonchalant just
Like glass shatter in your head. Like, holy
wow.
shit.
What the fuck?
The American produced English dub episodes aired from February 23rd, 2002 to April 1st, 2006 on Cartoon Network. Initially, the series was shown on the channel Adult Swim programming block from February 2002 to April 2003, but was later moved to Toonami. Some of the show's original depictions of mature content, including violence, sexual humor, and coarse language, as well as some controversial cultural discrepancies, were edited out for broadcast. Yu Yu Hakusho was taken off Toonami in March 2005 and moved to an early Saturday morning time slot that October, where the series finished its run. It was also aired uncut as part of the Funimation programming block on Colors TV in 2006 and Funimation Channel in high definition in 2011. Following Sony's acquisition of Crunchyroll, the series was moved to Crunchyroll, which is where I rewatched it, even though I have the DVDs for it. Love them. The series was distributed in the United Kingdom by MVM Films, in Australia and New Zealand by Madman Entertainment. In India, the English language version of the series was released as Ghost Fighter. Yu Yu Hakusho was localized in the Philippines as Ghost Fighter and aired on IBC in the mid-1990s, as well as on the GMA network in 1999. This version of the dub localized the characters' names, such as changing Yusuke to Eugene.
Wow, I could never fucking be like I couldn't take that show serious. Eugene! Use your spirit gun!
Get him, Eugene!
Did you say what Yusuke's name meant? Did you say that earlier?
I thought that was Phil.
No,
Did
I
you
don't.
get-
I don't think I talked
Oh,
about
okay.
Oh, no, there was someone else's name that you meant. The Ryzen, and then I thought there was
Ryzen. Yep,
something
Toshi.
else.
Yep, Toshi and Ryzen.
Yusuke's name actually means ghost helper. If that.
Oh.
Oh yeah. There was a pun on the name Hakusho is what it was, not Yusuke. It was Hakusho. Yeah. Or maybe I did mention that with Yusuke. I remember it was a pun, but didn't know that's what it was. I know we are coming up pretty close to the time that I want to keep here, so I want to try to blaze right through the information on creator Yoshihiro Togashi.
Lay it
Born
down.
in Shinju, Yamagata, to a family that owned a paper shop. Togashi began drawing manga casually in his first to second year of elementary school. In high school, Togashi joined the Fine Arts Club, which he later enrolled at Yamagata University, where he studied education in the hope of becoming a teacher. During college, he submitted some of his manga work to Weekly Young Jump, published by Shueisha. In 1986, at age 20, he authored a manga titled Butobi Straight, or Butobi Sutoreto, which he received the Tezuka Award, the most prestigious awards for new comic artists in Japan. Another manga by Togashi titled Jura no Mizuki was an honorable mention in Shueisha's first annual Hop Step Awards Selection magazine, which was published in 1988. After having given up his goal of becoming a teacher, Togashi, contacted by an editor of Weekly Shonen Jump during his senior year of college, who asked him to move to Tokyo. Togashi's earliest published works for Shueisha include Okami Nante Kowakuna, or I'm Not Afraid of the Wolf, a collection of comedy manga short stories. Weekly Shonen Jump published some of the stories prior to a Tankoban release in 1989. Between 1989 and 1990, Togashi authored Tende Showaru Cupid, or An Ill-Tempered Cupid in Heaven, a 4-volume romance manga involving the relationship between a normal human boy and a delightful devil girl. In 1990, Togashi made a name for himself with his next series, Yu Yu Hakusho, or The Poltergeist Report. Based on his interest in the occult and in horror films, the plot features the character Yusuke Urameshi, who we all know as being the underworld detective. Let me see if I can skip through some of that here. The manga lasted over 175 chapters, 19 Tankoban from 1990 to 1994, and went on to sell over 50 million copies worldwide and earned him a Shogakukan Manga Award in 1994. Holy shit, it was published in Weekly Shonen Jump in 1995. Well, let me see, what was this? I'm sorry, I skipped a line here. In 1995, he created Level E, a science fiction comedy manga comprised of 3 volumes that was published in Weekly Shonen Jump 1995 and ran until 97. Level E was adapted into an anime television series in 2011. I'm going to have to try to find that. Togashi's next major series, which most of us probably know, Hunter x Hunter, an action-adventure manga which began serialization in 1998. The story revolves around protagonist, is it Gon? It's Gon, yeah, Gon Freaks.
I thought it was Gone.
Is it Gon?
Yeah, Gon.
Gon.
Yeah, he's a young boy in search of his father. He's like a little wild animal boy who is a legendary elite member of society called a hunter. This manga also performed very well commercially, with the first 20 volumes selling nearly 55 million copies in Japan as of August 2011. In an interview for Weekly Shonen Jump's 50th anniversary, Togashi is quoted as saying, "This might be an unpleasant way to put it, but back then I thought that my next work should aim to hit, since I was writing for Jump and all. I had been watching readers' polls closely since the latter half of Yu Yu Hakusho's serialization. I was looking at not only my own standings, but also at things like who's number 1 right now, with what kind of story, etc., analyzing everything. I concluded that the popular works were about sports or battles, stuff where there were clear winners and losers. Then I thought that if I was going to write something next, it had to be a battle manga after all." It was in 2008 that Togashi tied with One Piece author Eiichiro Oda as the 5th favorite manga artist from poll posted by the marketing research firm Oricon. Oda. It's all you, homie. Moment of silence for the man. In 2017, Togashi wrote the 2-chapter manga Akuten Wars. It was illustrated by Hachi Mizuno and published in September and November issues of Grand Jump Premium. Almost done here, swear to God. Togashi is married to, we already know that about the girl from Sailor Moon, and it's fucking, why, how?
Respect.
Yeah, that is damn, son. The two were introduced at a party hosted by Kazushi Hagiwara. You know what? I'm not familiar with Japanese names, I'm not gonna lie. If that was a dude that introduced you, you fucked up, bro. You missed out.
Oh, man.
Damn, the following year, Takeuchi assisted Togashi for a short time by adding a screen tone to his manga Hunter x Hunter. Togashi and Takeuchi were married on January 6th, 1999. In attendance for the ceremony were several fellow manga artists and voice actors from both the Sailor Moon and Yu Yu Hakusho series.
That's so cool.
Dude, did they get married by Kuwabara?
Oh, dude, I wanted them... they should have made...
pronounce you man and wife. You may kiss the bride.
So, Christopher Sabat did the voice for Kuwabara in English dub.
Sword get longer.
I wish this would have been an amazing opportunity for them to make a collab, like a collab manga of Sailor Moon and Yu Yu Hakusho.
Sailor Hakusho?
Hey.
Or Yu Moon?
Yu Yu Moon. Yu Yu Sailor Hakusho.
You
There
think
you
it'd
go.
be like solving mysteries by dead time. Getting pummeled by young Toguro
Jesus
before
Christ.
bedtime.
Yeah.
Sailor Moon one-shots younger Toguro.
Yeah,
probably.
Do you think even he's like chill enough, like during transformation, to not look at Sailor Moon? Like, okay, hold on, don't look at me, I'm naked. Like, okay, like he just has his glasses on. Like, I can tell you're still looking. Be like,
no, you can't. I'm wearing glasses.
I feel like he's really chill. He doesn't even drink alcohol. He drinks orange juice.
Yeah, true. Dude's probably fucking high 24/7.
Fun fact.
The deal with me when the sunglasses go down. That's Toguro. He just has those sunglasses slide down.
He's just fucking ripped out of his mind, and that's why he wins it all the time.
Dude, that guy's higher than Cloud9. He's higher than King. He's higher than King Enma.
Shit.
He's higher than Ryzen's power level.
Holy fuck, yeah, he's a S-class, no way. Togashi said he enjoys board game style video games and bowling with his family. He also likes watching horror movies and considers Don't Look Up and Dawn of the Dead as his favorites. Togashi cites visual effects designer H.R. Geiger as a major influence. Togashi suffered from an immense amount of stress while working on Yu Yu Hakusho, which caused him inconsistent sleep patterns and chest pain.
Man.
On March 29th of 2011, Togashi and his fellow manga artists posted messages on the official Shonen Jump website in support of the victims of the 2011 Tohoku earthquake and tsunami. He has a younger brother named Hideaki Togashi, who is also a manga artist. The Togashi paper store run by his mother is still open in Shinjo, Yamagata.
Ooh.
We should go and just like say hi to the lady
We
who
love your
raised a
son.
legend.
Yeah.
You did a fine job. We commend you. On May 24th, 2022, Togashi created a Twitter account that was later verified by Shueisha. He got that blue check. He gained over 1 million followers in one day and 2 million in 72 hours. Fuck, I can't even get like 100 views on my TikTok. Fucking 2 million fucking followers in 72 hours. Is that more than Jack Black, do you think? I know his was fast.
Oh, yeah, right. His gaming channel that doesn't do gaming.
Yeah, he is the most followed manga artist on the Twitter platform.
Wait, that is
Black?
insane.
Over 3 million followers. What? Jack Black?
No, we're not talking about Jack Black.
I was
Get
just
out of here.
joking. I was just saying.
That's insane. That's insane that like that he's even more popular on Twitter than like Akira Toriyama.
Mm-hmm.
That's impressive.
Yeah. Now I know we're real close to time. Phil, you had some fun shit you want to say
Yeah.
with the end of this, and then, then we'll have a real quick, short discussion on something fun.
So fun facts. George the Ogre is an anime-only character. He is not actually in the manga. We all know George, the blue ogre that's constantly around Koenma. Yeah, not in the manga.
Weird.
Yeah,
How does
entirely anime.
Koenma get around? Like he's like, so Koenma's like a little baby man. I
he
mean, he's
flies around.
literally like a baby.
Yeah, he flies around.
He's got a pacifier in his mouth.
Doesn't stop him from flying. There's a reason for that pacifier, you find out.
Yeah.
Number 2, if you didn't know, Koenma isn't the sole ruler of the spirit world, but second in command. The main ruler of the world is Koenma's father, Enma, making Koenma the co-ruler, the Ko-Enma.
Okay, all right.
That, I think that's the
That'd
name
be
for
the pun.
yep, Enma and Ko-Enma.
Okay, yeah.
Fun fact, puns. The short and short-tempered dark ally of the Urameshi gang was supposed to be a one-off villain for Yusuke to beat, much like the rest of the Spirit Detective arc. But I almost said unfortunately. Fortunately, Hiei was just so popular that the writer brought him back as a main member of the team.
Yeah, he's the cool fucking kid of the group.
I can't remember, like I can't even imagine how the story would be different without Hiei.
Yeah.
Like Hiei.
I mean, him with like the Saint Beast arc, like him with the dragon
Yep.
guy, like that fight was one of the coolest in the series, in my opinion.
And
that
him-
needs to exist. That was cool as shit.
And him in the Dark Tournament, like Hiei put fucking work.
Right, and like I couldn't even imagine that series without Hiei at all, because he's so serious. It would just be Urameshi and Kuwabara.
Yeah.
That
Cool,
fuck.
him and Kuwabara fight all the time. Like the dynamic between them, like that's what I live for. Number 4, Yusuke is called Eugene in the Filipino dub. Kurama is named Dennis, and Kuwabara is named Alfred.
Yes.
I couldn't find anything for Hiei, but I imagine
love
Hiei is named something
Dennis.
different. Dennis and Alfred. Alfred.
I'm an ancient fox demon named Dennis.
Oh my god, it's Yoko Dennis.
In fact, in the ancient text on the walls here, it clearly says, beware the ancient god Dennis.
So a little bit about Kurama is like Yoko Kurama was a legendary bandit. Like he was an
Yeah.
incredibly strong bandit. But yeah, the bandit Dennis. Number 5, Gin from Hunter x Hunter is based off of Yusuke.
Okay, I could see that.
Let's see here. Number 6, Kurama is revealed to be the real name of the nine-tailed fox sealed within Naruto during the final arc of the Naruto series. Its mangaka, Masashi Kishimoto, is said to have been inspired by the Yu Yu Hakusho anime.
Yep, I was literally going to bring that up earlier. I was like, Kurama the fox sounds a lot like Naruto.
Alright. And then finally, the last fun fact I got here was that Sensui's 7 psychics are based upon the 7 deadly sins.
Meliodas? He ain't in there.
I think it was Gourmet is obviously oh my god, why can't I think of
Gluttony?
it? Glutton. I blanked on the word there for a
Yeah.
second. Let's see. I believe Sensui was wrath. Amanuma was pride. No, sorry, Sniper was
He
pride.
would have
So-
been
Gatekeeper was lust.
sloth.
Sloth. Yeah, yep, that's Amanuma was sloth.
Yep.
Kamiya is
Lust?
no,
Kamiya was
no,
wrath.
Itsuki was the lust.
Oh, yeah.
Who was Kamiya?
Camille's Wrath.
Yep, that's what it was. And Seaman was envy.
Cool. Yeah, that's pretty neat. I never realized that.
Yeah,
It was never mind. I think Seaman's name was Midodara, right?
I think Miss Seaman's name was like Mitari.
Yeah, that was them.
Yep.
Yeah.
I know we're running out of time here, but I guess little bit like overall, like what are some likes and dislikes about Yu Yu Hakusho as a whole?
Wow. So my immediate thoughts on this after watching it now, as much as I love this show, I don't necessarily think it's aged as well as some other 90s shows have. Like, something about this where, because we've done so many tournament fighter arcs with so many other shows, and while this one is really good, and it's not that, I just feel like they've done so many tournament arcs now that now it doesn't feel as special.
Well, yeah, but Yu Yu
Right.
Hakusho is like one of the most famous tournament arcs.
It is, but watching it now doesn't necessarily bring the same joy because I'm like, okay, it's another tournament arc. Like, I get it. Like,
Right.
it's just been done a lot. So watching it again, I'm like, well, this is really cool. Don't get me wrong. I love this. It's another tournament arc, and I'm kind of tired of watching these.
I think that's why I like the Chapter Black arc so much, is
because
because
it's so different.
it's so different.
Yes.
I think that, like I said, that's my favorite arc of the show right now. Overall, I think Yu Yu Hakusho, I think the opposite. I think it aged very well. Certain things, maybe not so much, but overall, I still think the show's awesome. It is kind of campy in some spots.
Yeah, it's a little
but,
outdated in places.
But, like,
and-
the characters, the powers,
Mm-hmm.
some of the fights are so well done. I wish we would have gotten, like, a much better final season, though. Like, the Three Kings, I feel like, really was just Tagashi being like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like him just rushing through it.
Like, I know it's got to be in his heart to do it, but man, if he would just do like a movie to just.
There was
like,
a Yu Yu Hakusho movie too.
There was, but like something to like to re-wrap it up. Like,
they did. There's actually
really?
use a AMV, not AMV, OMV. I can't remember the term of it, but what?
OVA.
OVA, sorry, OVA. That's it. It actually came out recently in the last couple of years.
Really?
It talks about the last couple chapters of the manga that were never animated.
Oh.
I never got a chance to watch it though because I was just so busy and I couldn't really find it anywhere.
Is it animated or just talk
animated.
about it?
Was that the remake they were talking about? Because I thought they were going to remake like.
I thought they were doing a remake, but I think it turned out to be just this little bit of episodes.
I'm gonna check that out.
The animation is much cleaner. It's very different than the old school stuff. But like, I definitely want to check it out. But overall, I think this show is absolutely in my top 10.
Yeah, same.
It's so cool. My brother and I have so many memories of the show. It had a great card game that we've played.
Classic.
It's absolutely a classic, 100%. I give this one, to be honest, I give this about a 9 out of 10.
Same.
This is up there.
8 out of 10.
8 out of 10?
It's close enough.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
Phil, 8.3.
I hate you.
Oh shit! Yeah, I mean, it's such a good show. I know what Google's going to say about it. It's good, so I'm not even going to ask. But instead, I've got another question that I want to ask the two of you.
Ooh.
What do you think of Chainsaw Man?
Ooh, are we doing it in this episode?
Chainsaw Watch, baby. Let's go. Episode 1. Let's go.
Solely off the anime, I like where it's going. I've read the manga, so I kind of know what they're doing with it. But I like it. I just wish they wouldn't do that rotoscoping so much. I get why they do it, just because Studio Mappa is like swamped and they have a lot of shit.
Yeah.
But if they had time, it would look like there are some parts that look amazing, like the intro and like some of the scenery looks amazing. But then like when he turns to Chainsaw Man, I wish they wouldn't like that. You can tell like when those parts like when they happen, like when they rush it and they skip stuff.
This might be controversial, but if you want to make the series really stand out, especially being episode 1 of a highly anticipated manga, take your time. Animate it properly and don't be cheap on the animation budget just to get it out quick. No one's like, when you think about it, any movie or game or show or anything that was produced quickly on a low budget as an like episode 1 is where you need to hook your audience in. And if they look at that, you're like, the animation's kind of cheap, or they skip a lot of things that were in the manga that a lot of people were like looking forward to, it's going to leave a bad taste in everyone's mouth, and that's not going to make people want to keep watching the show. So in my opinion, I'm really sick of these animation studios using this like rotoscope or this like low quality like 3D animation. I know it saves time, but I'd rather them just take longer to make the product and make it look good.
Yeah,
like
I agree.
Bleach, like the new Bleach saga that's out. The animation quality on that show is peak perfection. It is so like it's all, none of this rotoscope bull. It's all high quality, and they waited years to like do this. So I don't think that's an excuse for that. That's a personal thing.
Like Chainsaw Man, I feel it's so action heavy. At least that first episode was that I feel like that was necessary for all of that. Like there's so much movement that would have been insane. Just with like it was the whole episode was a fight, and I will say that like I feel like because they did like I do see that the budget went into animation, but because the episode was so intense from start to finish that their budget had to be spread probably pretty thin throughout the whole episode. Because a lot of shows they'll put all of the budget into the fight that's supposed to last for 2 minutes. See, a lot of this like took up half the episode, so I feel like that's where all the animation went in. So maybe it's just this episode, but I feel like because of that. I feel like because of that budget issue, they skipped out on something that I really wanted to see with Chainsaw Man. If you don't know what Chainsaw Man is, a real brief thing about it is there's a bunch of demons and monsters and shit, and then now there's a guy that has chainsaws for limbs and a face. And that's Chainsaw Man, and he goes around cutting up demons. Anyway, they didn't show the transformation of the first time you're meeting Chainsaw Man, they don't show him transform, and I was like, that felt kind of poopy to me. Like that's that's as bad as the Wonder Woman and Snyder cut. Like that's you don't do that. That's a no-no, and in anything you need a proper introduction. Like, yeah, it's cool that he like sliced his way out of a bunch of bodies and stuff. But like Sailor Moon, how did he get that way? I want to see it explode. I want to see that chainsaw explode out of his face. And this is a bloody, gory, violent show, and I'm having a blast with it. That was awesome. I thought it was super fun. The intro music I thought was fun and quirky. It's a little chaotic. I think it matches the tone, but it is a strange song. The outro, I feel like we could have done better. We could have picked something else for sure. Shit. But yeah, shit. Any last words on either Yu Hakusho or any last Chainsaw Man remarks? Because I think we're gonna have to wrap this up here.
Yeah, I think overall, if you like Dragon Ball Z, you like martial arts type anime, Yu Yu Hakusho is absolutely a must see. 100%.
Definitely. All the spirit energy shit. Hell yeah.
Just bear with it the first arc. It starts off pretty slow.
See, to me, it feels like it's a really good comparison to what happened from Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z, where it starts off as just this kind of fun, low stakes, quirky. It's got some humor and some interesting plot line, but it was a lot more funny and more levity, more about the cute girls and the wacky shit that they get into while Yusuke is dead. Ooh, is he gonna make it this time? That kind of shit. But yeah, then it slowly evolves just like Dragon Ball to Dragon Ball Z, where now it's much more serious about the fight, about the power, about the consequences from that fight. So I didn't really think about that before, but it is an easy comparison. Well, shit. I think that might actually do it for everybody here at the Men of Zen. I do want to thank Schminkadelic for the use of our intro and outro. You can find his music on Spotify and Apple Music for more dance and trance. We can thank Calvin Rosario for the creation and use of our avatars on all of our social media sites.
Ooh, can you do me one favor?
Ooh, yeah.
Instead of our outro, I don't get me wrong, Schminkadelic is great. Play that intro to Yu Yu Hakusho one more time on the outro.
Ooh, man, you're really going to make me have to pull that back up. My iPad might be dead, dog.
Well, you know what? Fine. I'll just edit it in later on.
Oh, wait, nope, we got this. Okay. Y'all ready for this? Yeah,
That's a bang. We didn't even talk about the intro and outro songs for all the Yu Yu Hakusho arcs was amazing. They only had one song for the intro, and that's all they needed, baby. It was that good.
Yeah, they kept that like the entire time for the entire show. It's so good, and it's a classic. Now, what's interesting though is that I did start watching this show in subtitles first, and the song is different.
Oh,
it's the same song, but it's a completely redone recording. Like all of it, instrumentals, everything. The vocals are different, so it's interesting because I want to look at what the actual lyrics are, because this one is a little what I feel is Americanized, where it's got some more rhyming words that they might have stretched a little bit to make it feel more like an English or American song. But I don't know.
Play that shit, Brent.
All right, well, hey everybody, thanks for listening in, and shit, yeah. Thanks for listening. Once again, this has been the Men of Zen. My name is Brent.
I'm Phil.
I'm Aiden.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Stay Zen.
Certified classic.